Steve Will Do It just challenged NELK founder Kyle to a boxing match and says he'll do it completely free. After accusing NELK of buying views, scamming sponsors, and destroying the Full Send brand, Steve is officially in full crash out mode. And now Adin Ross is trying to make the fight happen, but Kyle still hasn't answered. So is this finally where the NELK breakup gets settled? This is the Internet Chaos Report. Remember to like and subscribe because we're posting videos like this every single day. Now let's get into it.
What's popping up? Steve Will Do It is on a crash out mission when it comes to NELK, and he's going to do everything he can on his side to make sure that that fade happens with Kyle Forgeard, who is the leader of NELK, which Steve Will Do It ended up getting kicked out of, and he called them out to a fade after Adin Ross's most recent boxing event.
Is that real? Would you want to do that?
You'd fight Cole? Yeah, I weigh 184. I think we dropped to $160, $150. And
It's been in this space for like 10 years, and seeing things.
I feel like Steve would definitely kick the shit out of Kyle. For sure.
Go the way they have with these two, it's kind of upsets me a little bit.
do you like that fight though, Steve and Kyle? That'd be a main event, pay-per-view.
I like Steven Steiny better, to be honest with you.
Beast between you and Kyle. You would
I feel like Steven Steiny would just be way too unfair, to be honest.
fight Cole?
Yeah, for sure.
Have you spoken to Adin Ross about it?
No, I'll do it for free too.
Really?
I'll say no. I want to give the money to someone, but I would like to. I want to, because if I were to do boxing, I want to be like people think I just need money or something. But I would do it just to, like, I don't know, just fight them.
Okay, that could be pretty good there. Massive fight.
What do you think about Kyle's current training?
Noob.
I didn't know Kyle was training. I haven't seen any of that.
What about
Although I haven't really paid attention to NELK at all lately. They kind of, I'm not going to say they fell off, but because I feel like they're still getting views, but you don't hear about them as much. I guarantee they're still getting views. And also their Happy Dad is like blowing up. It's the most drank fucking seltzer I ever, like, if I go out to the bar or anything, I see people drinking Happy Dad. So I don't want to say they fell off exactly, but their YouTube presence definitely has fallen off for sure. I feel like.
endurance-wise?
Noob.
So here, him saying that he would...
And I feel like Steve is finally like getting back into relevancy again, you know, because he was banned from everything for a long time. So
fight him for free is a crazy admission, because that's hard to turn down, because they would get paid. Kyle would get paid. It would be publicity for Kyle, which makes sense. And you can see the discomfort here from Mike Majlak's side, because he's cool with both of these guys, and he also has a past in addiction. So I think he's able to resonate with Steve Will Do It a little bit better than most. But Steve Will Do It will go full on crash out mode. And I actually love this part.
I'm Kyle. Let me bot views.
I cannot upload for 1 year, and then I upload and I get 6 million views. I'm Kyle Forgeard. I gained 1.1 million views overnight, and I gained 0 likes. Bro, you bot. You're a fat.
So this is...
I wonder if he actually is botting or if he's just making that up. Because if he did get that many views, I feel like he's not as relevant anymore. But maybe I'm wrong.
Is what I would normally call, here comes Steve Will Do It, hating, crashing out. But no, actually with Kyle, and especially with NELK, I know you guys have to have some sort of a pulse on what's going on. NELK is not what they were in 2020. Or even 2021, 2022. Yeah, Happy Dad is in stores, but when have you seen somebody really drink Happy Dad?
Dude, I see it all the time. I see people drinking Happy Dad all the time. Maybe that's just where I am. Maybe that's just up here in Montana. People drink Happy Dad all the time, but that's literally all I see people drinking. So
I think they still have that same audience that they had years ago. No, that audience grew up, and they haven't done anything to get the newer audience.
Yeah, I think also a lot of the people who are drinking Happy Dad probably don't even know it's related to NELK. You know, I think that they're just drinking Happy Dad because they like it. So he's definitely making money. He's just not getting views on YouTube like what he used to. I feel like.
And when you look at the NELK podcast, the Full Send podcast, read the comments and look at the number of comments versus the views on all of NELK's content. And you got to think to yourself, that's interesting. So Steve Will Do It will post a barrage of stories saying, as a former member of the NELK Boys, I've learned you can finesse and lie and get money. Not who I am as a person, but my hands are tied if PSG loses. And he was making a bet on, I think, PSG versus Arsenal. He says, I won north of $1 million. I won't have to finesse you guys and become NELK. Use code NELK if you want to be scammed and get Steiny paid $50K in a month when NELK scams $500K a month from PrizePicks, allegedly. If you do player props, use PrizePicks. They are very good people. They are not educated on scamming because they sign NELK full-time. But I love you, PrizePicks. You guys are in a bad position. I will work for free to make up for NELK's botted views. I cannot work for your number one company and have more motion for the company than you. They pay you and hate you. They don't pay me and give more value out of me than you. Ha ha ha. It's so jokes. You're literally worthless to companies. Hey, I'm Kyle. I'm a loser. Nah, I don't want to work with you. Everyone in the world. No one likes you, bro. This is a little bit confusing, but I will get to explaining it. It's funny. I like you more than 99% of people because you found me. No one likes you, even if you find someone. Happy Dad is a failure of a company. So this is a very interesting part because when he...
Really? I feel like I see it everywhere. Maybe I'm just like in a place where a lot of people drink it. I don't know.
He was doing an interview with Logan Paul, and Logan Paul, Mike Majlak was there too. He was asking him like, yo, how much money you make? Or where is this money coming from? Because you spend a lot. And then he would feel disrespected by that. And in a separate interview, he's like, yo, is he stupid or something? Why wouldn't he ask me about Happy Dad? Dog, no matter how much you own out of Happy Dad, that is not enough money to spend the way that Steve Will Do It spends. Steve Will Do It spends more than... Steve Will Do It spends like somebody that's netting 9 figures a year. And you cannot do that. And even somebody that's netting 9 figures wouldn't be spending as much as Steve. So for him now to say that Happy Dad is a failure, where's your money coming from? But he goes on and says, Kyle's a loser. He won't fight me. He's poor and can't afford losses like this. Kyle bots all his views, so he can't afford to pay clippers. Who is Kyle at this point? Liar, loser, Kyle. I scam companies to pay me because I'm NELK. Well, guess what? No one cares anymore. Mid, skip. So, looking this over, I will say, this guy, Kyle, and NELK, it is, in my honest opinion, and I allege, that these guys, they bought their views. They don't have real motion. Nobody is clipping these guys. They're not paying anybody to clip them, which is the modern thing. Like for example,
That is the modern thing.
You've seen that guy before. He's putting money into his marketing, and he has motion. But Full Send podcast? Look at the podcast charts on Spotify, because they're not going to bot the Spotify numbers there. And when you look at the podcast charts, their podcast is nowhere to be found on Spotify. The podcasts that are ahead of them are including, but not limited to, the PBD podcast, the Financial Audit podcast by Caleb Hammer.
Those are all huge podcasts, though. Let's be honest.
The Ben Shapiro podcast.
Okay, that one has fallen off a ton, so I don't know.
Hell, who else that we would recognize? Matt Walsh podcast, the Megyn Kelly show. Just you start.
Megyn Kelly, dude. That's crazy.
I'm still scrolling. The Julian Dory podcast, who's like an independent creator who's nowhere near as popular or famous-wise as these guys. The Dr. Insanity podcast, who's a YouTuber
no idea
as
what
well.
That is.
I can keep going. NELK still, Full Send is still not being shown.
Do they even have a podcast anymore? Are they doing their podcast still?
So these guys aren't even anywhere. I'm past 100 right now that I've scrolled past. Khloe Kardashian's podcast is ahead of them.
Khloe Kardashian has a podcast? That's cringe.
What does that tell you? So these guys have zero real motion at all. So I do believe that Kyle is there's some shystiness going on, because if they allow their real views to sit there, then it's going to be dangerous, because then their sponsors are going to be like, wait, these guys don't got motion? I thought they did have motion. So they have to fake that. Or
well, yeah, it's because they got rid of all their real talent, dude. They don't have Jesse anymore. I loved Jesse. I thought Jesse was fucking hilarious back at the beginning of NELK. I thought he was the best one, to be honest. And then Jesse disappeared. Then SteveWillDoIt was probably the best one during that time, you know? And then SteveWillDoIt was no longer there. Now they got like, what's that one guy's name? The fucking weird skinny black guy. I don't know. And they got Steiny, who annoys the fuck out of me. I fucking do not like Steiny at all. And then Kyle, basically. That's like what they have. Kyle's the only good one, in my opinion, and he's not even that good. He was like the least good one out of the original NELK. So he was like the least funny one out of the original NELK, you know? So I don't know. I think it's because they got rid of the actual talent that was on NELK.
you have to try to fake that. So Adin Ross, he would try to get this fight going.
We reached out to SteveWillDoIt. SteveWillDoIt's down. I reached out to Kyle. Kyle's not down. So far, he hasn't responded for Steve and Kyle to fight on brand risk. So I'm just letting you guys know right now. We reached out to Steve. Steve's with it. We're waiting to hear from Kyle. Yeah, I saw the IG story. I reached out to both of them. So Steve's down. Kyle, so far, no answer, but I'll follow up tomorrow.
Now, I do think this puts added pressure on Kyle because whatever he does, they've got to do the fight next. And some people will say,
I think he, honestly, I think he should just ignore it. I think the fight would be good, but for Kyle, I think he should just ignore it, not even act like it happened, because I think he's going to get his ass kicked.
yeah, why the hell would this fight even make sense? I've said SteveWillDoIt, it's his fault, and that this whole beef is going on, and yes, but let me give you guys a little bit more context, because SteveWillDoIt's been going in on them, and SteveWillDoIt's gone in on a bunch of people, and part of that is it's his fault. Like, for example, Corinna Koff, who he gave a bunch of gifts to and bought a bunch of cars, she had to return all of that stuff because payments weren't being made on them. But Kyle would address everything in regards to Steve and him getting his equity stolen or whatever on the podcast Iced Coffee Hour with Stephan.
One thing people don't really know too is, like, even though those merch numbers were like so high, believe it or not, money in my like specific pocket personally, and like Jesse's as well, because we were the two owners of NELK, right? Steve wasn't really like, he wasn't an owner of NELK. He was getting paid out in cash from merch. So the amount of money that me and Jess, as an owner, sometimes you take less cash, right? Because you own the equity. Yeah. So you can ask Jesse too. I mean, we weren't personally making a lot off the merch operation because it was money in, and then we had to pay out like a lot of people. And then it was also, when we're traveling in Europe, you're bringing 15 people, you're getting an Airbnb every single week. You're spending on flights, videos, like that money goes quick. Maybe some people.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't even operate a business even close to as big as they do, but dude, you know how much you have to pay people? Like, I would say with 5 guys that I have running right now, I pay around $10,000 a week in just paying my guys, you know? That's not all materials or anything else like that. So I can't imagine how much these guys are spending.
People are suing us for pranks behind the scenes that we've, like, some people during pranks. So everything added up. So even the merch business, as much, when it's all said and done, like gross and then minus profit for like goods, shipping, everything like that. Personally, in my bank account, I never really got too rich off merch. Yeah, I kind of used to like manage him more. Like, obviously, like when I met him, my promise to him was, when I saw who he really was, like, because I saw the drinking and stuff, but when I met him and I like fell in love with his personality, I felt like, we were at 2 million subscribers. I kind of had figured out the game. And like, my promise to Steve was really just like, bro, like, if you trust me, like, I feel like I can help make you like rich and like successful. And I think I see something in you, and I think I can help guide you and like make you successful. And I think that was like our mission. And I feel like that's what we did. But he's just a guy. He's just a guy that's like, he's just gonna do whatever the f- he wants. You know what I'm saying? So I think he has a lot of other people in his ear now too, where it's like everyone wants a piece of him. You know what I'm saying? He's SteveWillDoIt. He's the man. So the one thing I can never do with Steve is not be honest with him. And like, that's just who I am, bro. Like when people ask me for advice, like I'm not a person that can be really any type of yes man or like beat around the bush or like tell someone what they want to hear. And like, yeah, whenever Steve does ask me for advice, I'll tell him straight up like what I think. And like, if that's offensive or if that's something he doesn't want to hear, and that goes for Steiny.
Yeah.
Anybody that asks me for advice, like I'm going to be blunt and I'm going to be honest and I'm going to tell you what I actually think. So, but now, I mean, me and Steve are cool. It's not like like the internet likes to make it some, like we have beef or something like that. Like I'll see him tonight.
That's what that's what I've seen a lot of the comments.
But no, it's like, I think right now we're just kind of on two different paths right now. And I think Steve's like, I don't know, he's doing his thing and he's crushing his YouTube. And like, I'm loving his content. I'm watching like every video. I know his editor, Alex, is killing the edits too. And like, I'm happy for him. I think we're just on like two different paths at the moment. I don't know. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with content and YouTube too. Cause I'm getting older. I'm 31. Like I'm trying to figure out like, how does this old NELK Kyle kind of continue and what's my next chapter, you know, cause I'm not really drinking and partying like I used to too.
So he addresses this and then SteveWillDoIt will go off and be like, nah, you know, that's not how it happened, this and that, about a month later. And NELK, Kyle, he explains and lays out all of the money that happened in this very long clip that I'm going to timestamp for you guys.
So there's been a lot said about me online recently and about how things work with Steve and NELK. So I'm going to be talking about that right now. No personal shots, just the facts. In 2019, Steve signed a deal with NELK that clearly outlined how he would get paid for merch, brand deals, appearances, everything. So on Steve's personal merch, he received 70% of the net profits. NELK's 30% was not pure profit. It covered the design, the production, the fulfillment, inventory, everything that it takes to make a successful merch drop. A 70% creator split while the company manages full operations is a very strong deal. So now let's talk about how much money Steve earned from NELK. So I'm going to pop up something here. It's a year-by-year breakdown of personal cash earnings for me and Steve. So you can see here from 2019 to 2023 how much I made and how much Steve made each year. Over that stretch, personally, I earned just under $3.5 million. Over that same stretch, Steve earned just over $12 million in cash. And these payments were just from NELK. Steve also did outside third-party brand deals independently from NELK. In our deal, there was a standard 15% management fee for NELK on these outside deals, but I chose not to enforce that percentage on several major deals. On those deals, Steve kept the full 100% amount. So the reason I earned less than Steve during that time is pretty simple. The money had to stay in NELK so we could keep shooting videos. Shooting these videos was not cheap. You have the production, the filmers, the editors, the travel. All that required real capital. When we were traveling through Europe with 15 people so we could shoot, edit, and upload a video every single week, the Airbnbs, the production, the travel, that stuff was not cheap. If the money didn't stay in the company, then these videos would not get made. So as the owner, it was my job and my priority to keep the money in the company and pay the people that made the content possible over taking more money personally. So let's talk about Steve's equity in NELK. First of all, equity means ownership. It's not monthly pay.
Yeah, I don't think Steve had any equity. Maybe he has equity in Happy Dad, but I wouldn't assume that he had equity in NELK.
Equity becomes valuable as the company grows and eventually sells, goes public, or becomes extremely profitable. It's pretty much a long-term bet on the future of the company. I explained clearly what the equity meant to Steve, and I gave him 10% of the company.
Oh, damn. He had 10%? That's crazy.
And he also chose to invest $500,000 for an additional 5%. At that time, nobody, including me, was taking extra owner payouts. The structure of the company didn't change because Steve became an owner. The money had to stay in the business if we wanted to pay the people that made the content possible so we could keep making videos. I explained to Steve that equity is long-term and it can pay off over time, and it's not immediate cash flow. Over time, Steve made it clear that he preferred immediate cash over holding ownership for a potential long-term outcome. So we returned his $500,000 plus $50,000 in interest. Like I said earlier, there was a 15% management fee on Steve's outside deals to NELK, and as Steve's business grew, he wanted full independence and no longer wanted to do any type of revenue sharing with NELK. At his request, we agreed to that structure and he no longer held equity in NELK. That meant that NELK would no longer be able to collect 15% on his outside deals, and he would no longer have equity in NELK. The separation agreement formalized that, we both signed it, and today there are no revenue sharing between NELK and Steve. Also for clarity, Steve was granted 15% of Happy Dad when we started the company, and he remains one of the largest shareholders today. And when Steve's channel was deleted, I had no control over that decision. I reached out to him immediately and he asked me for advice. I told him the fastest way back would be to handle it professionally, don't escalate things online, and he can stay in NELK content while things cool off. Ultimately, he chose a different route. That was not my decision, and I had no control over it. I thought that the ban could have lasted a lot shorter if it was handled a different way. Those are the facts. That's it, guys.
So there, you can see the calmness.
I think Kyle actually broke that down very well. I don't think he's lying at all. So
you can see all of the numbers being laid out. Kyle is believable here. And even if he's frauding all of the numbers allegedly and doing all that behind the scenes, he is still able to manage high-level relationships. He's able to conduct business. He seems a lot healthier than SteveWillDoIt. He's not crashing out. He doesn't flex that he's doing drugs. None of this stuff. So in regards to the money aspect, I think Kyle did everything by the book right with SteveWillDoIt, and SteveWillDoIt, as we're seeing with how irresponsible he is with his bread, he is crashing and burning money-wise. But ever since SteveWillDoIt got back on YouTube, he's had motion. He's crushing it on YouTube, and I don't believe that I think SteveWillDoIt would have a heartbreak and cry if he found out somebody was botting him. I don't think he would ever do something like that because he just loves it so much. And 6ix9ine, who's also had a come up, has recently taken aim at Kyle in an interview with
the whole things that he was doing. They was like, yo, this kid has all the money in the world. He's giving out a different car, different house, different, thousands and millions of dollars support. People love this guy. They were like, I think they had, and this is, I'll say this and I'll say it again and I'll keep saying it, I'll stand on it. And it's not a fact. This is how I feel. I feel like they had something to do. This is my opinion. I feel like they had something to do with Steve's YouTube getting deleted. And when it could have been, okay, listen, it could have been the stake. I mean the what is it called?
The URL on
the URL.
Yeah.
It could have been that, but they had the power to get that YouTube back because all the connections that NELK had with, representatives at YouTube, all this stuff. They even went as far as telling Steve that he couldn't be part of the NELK videos because they were in risk of getting their YouTube deleted.
I don't believe this is true because if they got him unbanned, and if they could have gotten him unbanned, they would have made far more money at the peak of his career than having to push him away. And if the whole idea is that Kyle wanted to be the famous guy and he wanted all of the attention, Kyle would constantly be on social media trying to get attention. Mm-hmm. Kyle's not trying to get attention all the time. If anything, he's really just trying to grow the brand or make a lot of money because it doesn't seem like the brand is really growing. Like, yeah, they have bigger connections, but the following of the brand, how much people rep it, the merch sales, guarantee those aren't what they used to be. And even their views aren't what they used to be. But when you take a look at SteveWillDoIt And like Steve Will Do It and Togi are basically the new NELK. Togi is the guy that replaced NELK. We'll say that. Like Steve Will Do It right now. This guy, he drops a video 6 days ago. It's got 1.4 million called Being Black for a Day. Very well, somehow that's allowed on YouTube. Anyway,
That's funny.
You see, like, this guy's got 3 million views on a video, 1.5, 1.6, 1.6. And you can see the engagement on here. This guy's got 68,000 likes on the video. He's got 24,000 comments. But when you look at a NELK video, let's just look at NELK, their No Love show or whatever the hell it was.
Damn.
Love Island show, which they ran into issues with. They've got 49,000 likes on that, but 6,000 comments.
That's crazy. Only 6,000 comments on a video that has 3.3 million views. That's wild.
Which is very different from the usual comments they get. And if we're being fair, they do have Charleston White and a bunch of stars on this show, and the production for this was insane. But looking at other videos, for instance, the Surviving 100 Miles in the Vegas Desert, this one has 6,000 comments. This one doesn't look too bad, but 100 miles that this guy ran in the desert, it was a crazy feat that Kyle was able to do. It should have gotten more attention if this was Prime NELK. Or if this was Steve Will Do It doing the same thing, it would have gone crazy. So Steve has eclipsed NELK, and that's why I think these guys running the fade, it would be good for Adin Ross.
Yeah, I think that Kyle's more business oriented and Steve is more entertainment oriented for sure.
Be good for them.
I think that Kyle has always been the one who's more business oriented in NELK, like the whole time, you know?
They are all gamblers. So this would be good for all of their companies involved, although the main sponsor of the event is the only one that can, I think, like host the odds for them. But it's an audience that they all want. So I do think this fade needs to happen. I don't think Kyle is jealous of Steve Will Do It at all. I think he might be a little bit like envious of his charisma and his ability to make people laugh, but I don't think he's willing to trade that in for the lack of sanity that Steve Will Do It has. And I don't believe that anybody but Mr. Beast could have gotten Steve Will Do It unbanned. And that's a tall order to ask of somebody like a Mr. Beast who is going to cash in a major...
Did Mr. Beast help get Steve Will Do It unbanned? Is that what happened?
...your favor to get you unbanned when you're liable to destroy the guy's brand, considering you're dropping videos that are very, very, not even towing the line, offensive. People would find offensive and PR disasters. But let me know in the comments, who do you guys think would win if they hopped in the boxing ring?
Yeah, definitely be Steve Will Do It. Steve Will Do It would win for sure. No doubt. But anyways, thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe because we're posting videos like this every single day. Peace.